GST return is a form which is supposed to be filed by each and every person who is registered under the GST authority. Every person who registered under the GST system is supposed to file the GSTR return based upon their kind of transaction. Under GST authority, different kind of people are going to registered with respect to the GST. Hello everyone, I am Arun Kumar, lecturer in Department of Commerce and Management, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Dear students, welcome to this new session on unit number 5, that is GST returns, which is there for 6th Sem BCom students who are studying under University of Mysuru. Dear students, in today's session, we will be discussing about the meaning of GSTR, that is Goods and Service Tax Returns, and also the types of GSTRs we have. So before getting to know the different forms what we have under GSTR, so first we have to know the meaning of GSTR, that is Goods and Service Tax Return forms. So what does it mean? What does it really GSTR return means? So GST return is a form that a taxpayer registered under Goods and Services Tax Law must file for every GSTIN that he is registered. Yes, GST return is a form which is supposed to be filed by each and every person who is registered under the GST authority. So if you are registered under the GST authority and if you are given GSTIN, that is Goods and Service Tax Identification Number, then you are supposed to file the GSTR return every month or every quarterly based upon the kind of business you are doing and the rules and regulations made by the Goods and Services Tax Authority. GST return is a document that will contain all the details of your sales, purchase, tax collected on sales, that is output tax, and tax paid on purchase, that is input tax. Yes, GST return will be containing all the details with respect to your business. So what is the total sales you made for a particular duration, and what is the total purchase you purchased for a particular duration, and what is the total output tax you paid, and what is the input tax you paid on the inward supply. So every details will be there in the GSTR return. Next, once you file the GST returns, you will need to pay the resulting tax liability, that is money that you owe the government. Yes, once you file the GST return, yes, obviously you have to pay the tax to the government. So what is the tax you are going to pay? Input tax minus output tax, whatever the balance you will get, that balance you are supposed to pay to the government. Let us say you have 100 rupees as input tax and 200 rupees as output tax. So what is the balance you will get? 100. So you are supposed to pay 100 rupees to the government. So once if you are filing the GSTR return form, then you are supposed to pay the resulting tax liability to the government. So in short, the numbered and types of GST return that a business or a professional must file is based on the type of taxpayers registered. Yes, in GSTR return, the number of forms you are going to fill, it is based upon the registration type. If you are registered as an occasional businessman, then the types of forms will be different. If you registered as a regular businessman, your forms will be different. If you registered as a composition scheme, under the composition scheme, then the different types of forms you are going to fill under GST return is different. So based upon the different kind of registration, the number of files you are going to file with the GST authority. Next, moving further, these types includes regular taxpayer, composition, taxable person, e-commerce operators, TDS deductor, non-resident taxpayers, input service distributor, casual taxable person, etc. Yes, under GST authority, different kind of people are going to registered with respect to the GST. So which are those people? Those people are regular taxpayers who pay the tax regularly to the government. Those people are going to register under the GSTR and they are going to file the GSTR returns. And composition taxable person and also e-commerce operators, TDS deductors, non-resident taxpayers, input service distributor, and the casual taxable person. So this many types of people we have under the different kinds of businesses where they'll file the different kinds of forms under GST return. Next, in short, the number and types of GST return that a business or professional must file is based on the type of taxpayer registered. Yes, once again, it clearly says that the person who are going to file the GSTR return, it is based upon the type of business they are doing and under what type they register under the GST authority. So based on that, people are going to file the GSTR return. These types include regular taxpayers, composite taxpayers, e-commerce operators, TDS deductors, non-resident taxpayers, input service distributors, and casual taxable persons, etc. Yes, once again it says the same thing, that the types of taxpayers are regular taxpayers or composition taxable person, e-commerce operators, TDS deductors, and non-resident taxpayers, input service distributors, casual taxable person, and other persons. Next, moving further, who should file GST return? Yes, who is supposed to file the GST return? Is every person is allowed to file GSTR return, or only few persons are allowed to GSTR return? So who is going to file the GSTR return? The first thing, all business owners and dealers who have registered under the GST system must file GST returns according to the nature of their business or transactions. Yes, every persons or all business owners and dealers who are registered under the GST system. Yes, every person who registered under the GST system is supposed to file the GSTR return based upon their kind of transaction. So all business owners and dealers are supposed to file the GSTR files according to the business type and according to their transaction for the particular duration of time. Next, regular businesses. Yes, the people who are doing the regular businesses who are registered under the GST authority, they were also supposed to register under the GST authority, and they were supposed to file the GST return very frequently based upon the transaction. Next, businesses registered under the composition scheme. Yes, if any business registered under the composition scheme, they were also supposed to be file the GSTR return according to the type of transaction they are going to do based upon the duration of time. Next, other types of business owners and dealers. Yes, other than the regular business entities and the people who are registered under the composition scheme, other types of business entities or the business owners like e-commerce operators and TDS deductors, they were all supposed to file the GSTR return. Next, amendment. So if any amendment has taken place, then obviously that is supposed to be replicated in the GSTR returns, and the returns will be filed against the amendments. Next, auto drafted returns. So auto drafted returns like GSTR 2A and GSTR 2B, few returns are auto drafted, so that every assessee or the business owners or the dealers are going to file. And tax notice. Yes, if the authority is giving the tax notice, few GSTR returns are meant only to issue the tax notice, so at that time they can also file the return. So these are all the different types of businesses and transactions where they are going to file the GST return. So moving further, types of GSTR, that is types of GST returns. So GSTR 1, GSTR 2A, GSTR 2B, GSTR 3B, GSTR 4, next GSTR 5, GSTR 6, GSTR 7, GSTR 8, GSTR 9, 9A, 9B, 9C, GSTR 10 and GSTR 11. So we have different types of GSTR forms. So moving further to know about each and every types of form what we have. So the first one is GSTR 1, GST return 1. So what is all about this GSTR 1? So tax return for outward supplies made contains the details of interstate as well as intrastate, business to customer sales, including purchases under reverse charge and interstate stock transfer made during the tax period. Yes, in a simple form we can say GSTR 1 is applicable to know the information or to furnish the information relating to outward supply. So if any outward supply is happening in a particular business entity, they were supposed to file GSTR 1. Moving further, if form GSTR 1 is filed late, post the due date, the late fee will be auto-populated and collected in the next open return in form GSTR 3B. Yes, in case if GSTR 1 is not filed on the given date, if the GSTR 1 is not filed in the given date, then the late fee will be collected in the next opening return in the form GSTR 3B. So from January 1st, 2022, taxpayers will not be permitted to file GSTR 1 if they have not filed form GSTR 3B in the preceding month. Yes, from Jan 1st, 2022, the taxpayers will not be allowed to file GSTR 1 without filing GSTR 3B in the preceding month. So this is all about GSTR 1. Moving further, GSTR 2A. So what is this GSTR 2A? An auto-drafted tax return for purchases and inward supplies made by a taxpayer that is automatically complied by the GSTN based on the information present within the GSTR 1 of his or her suppliers. Yes, based upon the information fed by the suppliers from who we are going to purchase, whatever the information is fed by those suppliers, that will be replicated in our GSTR 2A. And this GSTR 2A form, it is a auto-drafted form, that is auto-drafted return, where you will get the information of purchases and inward supplies in a particular duration period of time. So here GSTR 2A is all about, it is an auto-drafted return where you are going to find the details of purchase and inward supply of your business with respect to a particular duration of time, and this form will be auto-drafted based upon the information fed by the suppliers from whom you are going to purchase the raw materials or the required inputs. So moving further, GSTR 2B. So GSTR 2B is an auto-drafted document that will act as an input tax credit statement for taxpayers. Yes, GSTR 2 is an auto-drafted document that will act as an input tax credit statement for taxpayers. So it acts as an input tax credit statement. Which one? GSTR 2B. The GST Council states that GSTR 2B will help in cutting down the time taken to file returns, minimize errors, ease reconciliation, and simplify compliance. Yes, so here GSTR 2B will be acting like a input tax credit statement. So it will be very easy to us to analyze what is the input tax credit is available to a particular taxpayer, so that you will not be in a confusion and there is no confusions between the supplier and the buyer, and there will be no confusion between the taxpayer as well as the government. So this one will help the taxpayers to minimal their work. Next one, GSTR 3B. Temporary consolidated summary return of inward and outward supplies that the Government of India has introduced as a relaxation for the businesses that have recently transitioned to GST. Hence, in the months of July and August 2017, the tax payment will be based on the simple return called GSTR 3B instead. Yes, here GSTR 3B is all about the summary return of inward and outward supply. So in GSTR 3B, you are going to find out what is the inward supply and what is the outward supply made for a particular duration of period. Next, GSTR 4. So GSTR 4 is all about quarterly return for compounding vendors. It contains the total value of supply made during the period covered by the return along with the details of the tax paid at the compounding rate, not more than 1% of aggregate turnover. For the period along with the invoice wise, details of inward supplies if they are either imports or purchased from normal taxpayers. So yes, GSTR 4 is all about the quarterly return for compounding vendors. So sometimes the vendors will be paying or will be filing the returns quarterly, not every month. So those kind of people, what they'll do, they'll select with the GSTR return 4. Next, GSTR 5. So variable return for non-resident foreign taxpayers. So yes, it is a variable return for non-resident taxpayers. So it contains the details of the taxpayers, period of return and invoice details of all goods and services sold and purchased. This also includes imports by the taxpayer on Indian soil for the registered period or for the registered month. So here any non-resident is doing the business in India, those people, they are supposed to file GSTR 5. So what is GSTR 5 inclusive of? It includes the details of all kind of transaction made by the non-resident of India. If they are doing the business for 3 months, they are supposed to file the return details about for the 3 months business. If they are doing the business for 1 month, they are supposed to file return with the details of 1 month business. So what the non-residents of India will do, if they are doing the business vacationally, like for 3 months, 2 months or for half yearly, what they will do, they are supposed to file the GSTR 5. So that is why what they will call variable return for non-resident foreign taxpayers. So this is about GSTR 5. So in this particular session, we discussed about the meaning of GSTR 5, the meaning of GSTR returns, and we also got to know the different types of GSTR forms what we have, and we discussed about GSTR 1, GSTR 2A, 2B, 3B, GSTR 4 and GSTR 5. So in the upcoming session, we will discuss about few more GSTRs. So until then, thank you all.